At Interfaith, we bring warring parties together to dialogue. We also mediate between people of different faith who are in conflict. We go in, bring them together, and do mediation. And usually we end up at win-win.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
This experience of 30 years in Nigeria and in about 75 countries across the world need to be recorded. For children who are coming and the Gen Z, who are the next generations, to serve as a bridge building, as a opportunity of transferring knowledge, transferring wealth, transferring access to resources, human resources, in the area of peace building.
Kaduna State in northern Nigeria has long been home to people of different religions living side by side. For decades, Muslims and Christians have shared neighborhoods, markets, and public spaces. Yet, at different moments in history, tensions between communities have erupted into violence, leaving behind deep divisions and painful memories. But from this difficult past emerged an extraordinary stories of forgiveness, courage, and peace. In the early 90s, Imam Ashafa and Reverend Wuye stood on opposite sides of religious conflicts in Kaduna. Each man belonged to a different faith, community, and both were deeply affected by the violence. Loved ones were lost, community were torn apart, and anger ran deep. During one of the clashes, Reverend Wuye lost his right arm. At that time, the idea of reconciliation between the two men seems impossible.
Mindset of people of what has happened in time past, the unforgiveness, the grievances, the bitterness against, Christian and Muslims because of the crisis that has taken place before, the narrative is beginning to change little by little. It's a whole lot, but at least there's a little significant progress. We're not what we were before. We have made a little progress.
When these two arrowheads now came together, were brought together, people have to intervene, make them to understand the value of peace, and then they come together and began to work together. So they gave birth to the rise of Interfaith Mediation Center in Kaduna, and their work so far, because their experience alone is a story that changes people.
Be full of hate in your heart. You have to find.
But something unexpected happened. Instead of continuing the cycle of revenge, the two men agreed to meet and talk. What began as a tense and difficult conversation slowly evolved into understanding, and that understanding eventually grew into friendship.
One area we have worked in Plateau State, especially in the southern senatorial zone, and more especially in Yelwan Shandam, local government, in Yelwan Shandam. From our intervention in 2007 up to date, the city has remained calm, peaceful. The community have reconciled among themselves.
In 1995, they founded the Interfaith Mediation Center, an organization dedicated to promoting dialogue between Christians and Muslims.
Working for the past 30 years, 3 decades, and we feel as we begin to hand over to younger people, there is the need to document our experience. This book of unusual friendship, people who had once fought, becoming friends, is a story that is a must read for everyone.
Through workshops, community meetings, and peace education programs, they began helping communities addressing grievances and resolve conflicts peacefully. Today, the message of peace championed by Reverend Wuye and Imam Ashafa has reached thousands of people across Nigeria and around the world. Their work demonstrates that even the deepest divisions can be healed through dialogue, forgiveness, and cooperation. The journey of Imam Ashafa and Reverend Wuye from former enemies to partner in peace has become a powerful example of reconciliation in action.